You're in the innards of the historic and lovely Grand Ole Opry. What room are you in?
I'm in the Stars and Stripes room, dressing room number 5. Justin,
Oh,
ironically,
wow.
is in the little Jimmy Dickens room tonight. Dressing room
Oh,
number 3 is what they got us in.
Oh,
One of the bigger
nice.
rooms.
what's up, fellas?
What's
What up,
up, bro?
Blasi?
I'll tell you something funny. My Uncle John, my mom's brother, he's awesome. He was married to my Aunt Barbara for 40 years, and she passed away a few years ago. But little Jimmy Dickens is her first cousin.
Oh,
And
wow.
she was about 4'10", shocker of the year.
Imagine that. Little Jimmy Dickens was huge, man. Very influential back in the early days of country music, blending with television and radio and stuff. Man, what a guy.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
man.
That dude was like one of the first real deal superstars that there
Yeah.
was. He could do it all.
Yeah, like him and Minnie Pearl and some of that bunch, I mean, they were trying to take care of Hank Williams when he couldn't help himself and all that's wild. But yeah, here we are.
That's right. That's right.
That
Well,
is
ladies and
amazing.
gentlemen, welcome to a fun episode this week of Tigs Bits. We are coming to you kind of live from the Grand Ole Opry, baby. From the Grand
Yes.
Ole Opry. How
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll have to make
JR.
sure to get some pictures and some videos to send so we can post and put some on Patreon and just on our pages and stuff. But yeah, always an honor to be here. This is probably I'd say around 20th time, probably realistically. You know how we like to inflate numbers or deflate numbers to our advantage normally. I'm not going to do that on this. But I really think this is probably about the 20th time I've gotten to come here to do a show
Wow.
with an artist. I did a few with John and then now with Justin. Never a bad day at the Opry. They're so cool. Things have changed, got to go through metal detectors backstage and stuff on the way in. Used to not have to do that. They now serve alcohol here, I believe, which was a no-no forever.
There you go.
Certain things like that, but it's a beautiful place. Like I said, I'll get some videos sent around, but just going to be a nice night here at the Opry. We're playing a segment of the show and then getting on the road to another city after this. So we're not going to be here too long, but I'm looking forward to the show. I know the queen of bluegrass, Miss Rhonda Vincent's on the bill tonight, so I'm
Okay.
going
Oh,
to
man.
check her and her band out. A couple other cool acts I saw. I'm going to try to catch them side stage if I can.
Man, this is going to be a fun one. We have controversial things going on in the world of bass fishing. Blasi came with sets of knives. There's no telling what all we're going to get into this one. Barbecue, who knows? Stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun. But I did want to kind of bring up here at the very beginning of our show, this is a good opportunity, boys.
Mm-hmm.
We have merch. We have new merchandise that
yeah.
is available right now. You can go to tigsbits.com, see the whole new revamped merch store, see the hats, click on them. It takes you to the link. You can customize your hat. They're the Richardson 112 design, which is a hat made for guys. That's
exactly
what it is.
JR
It's
is
just
wearing.
like,
It is the
just
trucker
like
hat.
what
It is
JR is
the
wearing.
hat. It's the hat.
That's right. That is right. So love those hats. We have shirts and everything else, but you can just go over there, support us. Go to tigsbits.com, check out the website, check out the merch. We would love it. Go follow us on all of our socials and all of that. All of that information is on there as well. So I wanted to get that out of the way, boys, to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way, because we forget to do this just about every single week that we do this show. So
Yep.
shout out to ourselves. Let's do that this time. But we've had some big news in the world of bass fishing. And y'all know that I guess I'm the resident bass guy of our panel and love bass fishing and all of that stuff. But we've talked about this over some of the shows throughout this year. Forward-facing sonar, which is live scope for lack of a better term. But forward-facing sonar has played a huge role in all of the different tournament series events. Major player.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the fish, you can drop your bait on the fish, you can catch the fish.
Video
Now,
game fishing.
it's video game fishing. But that's the way technology goes in bass fishing, and it's been evolving my entire life. It just keeps
Right.
getting better and better and better. But we're at a point now where it's it's really, really good.
It's dialed
So
in now.
it is
Yeah.
dialed in.
Like you said, when we were kids, somebody had it. It was blurbs. It would be blurbs of
That's
different
right.
colors and depths. And it's basically the same thing, but it's just
Yeah,
evolved to this point where
It's
you can see what kind of fish it is.
That's right. Dang near it. And what's amazing is that technology is just going to keep getting better and better, and eventually it's just going to you will be able to. The screen will tell you, that's a catfish, and you'll just not mess with it. That's a bass, and you'll know. But what if these tournament organizations? They have had to deal with something major this year. They have had to figure out how are they going to police this, if at all, or what. And there weren't any leagues in 2024 that had any rule changes. They kind of let the seasons play out, roll out, see what happens. And now there have been some. There have been some changes. The first to come out is the NPFL, the National Professional Fishermen's League. And they're an upstart league. They've been around for 2 or 3 years, I believe. But they have some hammers that fish in that league. Some of the guys that had gotten fed up with BASS, some of the guys that got fed up with the MLF tour, they started fishing with them. I was looking through the anglers today. They fish live and do all of that stuff too, just like the other organizations do. But they have banned it for 2025.
Whoa,
no one
full
can
ban.
use full ban.
Wow.
Full
that takes out
ban.
like probably half the field, doesn't it? That's what they're dependent upon.
In that league, yeah. I mean, I think
younger
everybody's dependent on it now because it's like playing golf. It would be like now it's the equivalent of having your sand wedge and your gap wedge and your pitching wedge, but you can't.
Yeah.
But you can't, and your putter, but you can't use those.
Well, it was
you can only drive, and you have to use your 3-wood to putt now. You got to go back old school.
That's probably closer than what actually happened in golf, where you couldn't anchor the putter anymore, and guys that gotten used to using a long putter would anchor it to their chest and use their chest to rotate. And they said you can't do that anymore. And they're like, man, we've gotten used to this. You know what I mean? It's like so they had to get their hand off of their chest to do the long putter now. So and that took some guys out.
It did. It totally did. Yeah, I mean, if you've been putting that way your whole life, then it's going to take you out.
Because that's evolved. That's like another thing that's evolved from the pendulum swing in a standard putter into this whole over the last 20 years or so. I tell you how they could fix all this with the Bassmaster turn. Take it back all the way old school. John boats, small 15, 20 horsepower engines, no electronics, no nothing.
Primitive.
Don't know where you're going.
Just go out in a John boat and go fishing.
Yeah. Just go fishing.
School.
Just go fishing.
I would love it. I mean, that's the way that the Bassmaster the first handful of Bassmaster Classics, no one knew the lake that they were going to. Right. There was no information. You just went. They all met, got on a plane, went to a lake.
That looks pretty good.
They had the boats.
That looks pretty good. Let me go fish over there.
Exactly.
Same way that we fish,
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a grassy bed where it kind of tapers off there. I bet there's some hiding there.
I bet there's one there. Yeah, exactly.
They ought to do a blind series like that. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool. Bassmaster Pro blind series or something. You just send them out on these boats, real simplified stuff.
I think you're going to see that coming in the years. I definitely think that you're going to see you'll see that coming up. Let's talk a little bit about Bassmaster and what their response was to the NPFL. And they came out and they have decided for 2025, they will allow live scope. You can use forward facing sonar, but you can only have it on the front of the boat. And the transducer has to be attached to the trolling motor, which is primarily the way that it is anyhow. But what that's going to do is I saw a lot of these boats in these tournaments this year because I covered a couple of them. They have 4 to 6 screens in their boats.
So just running it all around like a 360.
Yes. So this is what they have decided to do. Bassmaster, BASS, they will not allow you can only have 55 inches of screen in your boat. Wow. Which that's going to knock it down to about, you could have 4 graphs. Well, some of these guys had 6, and some of these guys had 20-inch screens. They would have 2 in the front. And I mean, I saw one boat that had 8 graphs on it. Insane.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it was $40,000 worth of electronics, just electronics, and
Unbelievable.
$100,000 boats. Ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
What this will do is they're kind of it. It is a safety issue. They have gone out. They formed a committee on the very first tournament that was at Toledo Bend. They formed a committee to start watching this stuff because it was very apparent in that first tournament that this is going to be a big factor this year, and it was. So they formed a little committee. They've done studies. They did all of that stuff to kind of figure it out. That's what they're going with. They're going with just you can only have one live forward-facing sonar and 55 inches of screen. And I think that's a big deal because it's a safety issue. And I saw a couple of videos of boats that I had a guy who was like, if I was driving this boat, this would be a problem because the screens are right there. You know, you can barely see over. Well, you're going in a boat. Those things go 75 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
It's a safety issue.
And you're glancing down at it, same as you would if you had your phone in front of me driving. Yeah,
exactly.
Or even if you're standing up and you're looking at that and you trip, and next thing you know, you got a hook in your arm and you fall in the water and you cut your foot on the trolling motor. I'm too clumsy. That's all I can do to get my bait where I need it to go.
Exactly.
Wow.
But yeah,
that's interesting, and I'm sure we'll get some more updates because that'll be like the college NIL, all this stuff. It's going to be ever evolving over the next few years. It's not in 5 years it will look completely different what it is now.
Yeah.
Same with that. There'll be rules that'll have to be made because that's like we talked about the evolution of that with everything, and us being in our middle age now, we've gotten to see things change. I didn't ever think some of these things would get to the places they are. Main one is like our cell phones. I've got this earbud in as a microphone and a earbud. It's all this stuff is just wild. Thinking about the fishing though, what if they get to where they have drone technology? You have a little minnow that powers itself. You don't even have to have it attached to a line. You just throw it in the water. It goes down and finds the fish. It bites it. It brings the fish up to you. Or explodes or something. I don't know. It can get totally out of hand. This can get out of hand. Well, think about if the military technology got used in fishing. That's what I was going to say a minute ago. You think I hope they ever let the top military guys participate in one of these and bring some stuff from work. Because, if we can go see the bottom of the ocean at the trenches and the Titanic. I'm sure they've got some good stuff for a lake in Alabama or Louisiana.
Oh, dude, they do.
Doubt.
That used to be a big thing whenever I fished a lot, and GPSs first were coming out to civilians. Well, they were not as accurate as they are now. Like you can get it to within 3 feet on these trolling motors. You hit spot lock and it will stay within a 3-foot circle if it's not too rough out there.
Wow.
And probably even closer than that, probably more like 1.5 feet. Well, 20 years ago, the satellites and the GPS was off just enough to where it wasn't completely precision accurate because of the military and all of that. But those rules and laws have changed to where that isn't the case anymore. Because I would be out there and you would just lose satellites. Like I had a little handheld thing, and some of the places I would go fish, that's how I would use the track to get back there and get out, especially like on the Red River when I would fish up there a lot. And all of a sudden, they're in the middle of the day. You just lost your satellites. Well,
right.
They must be running some kind of exercise or something out of Barksdale.
Yeah.
Because we weren't far from Barksdale Air Force Base.
Makes sense.
So they would, it does make sense. So they would jam those satellites occasionally. Yeah.
Well, and then take offshore as Blasi. We all offshore fish from time to time and live near the coast. Offshore without GPS and on offshore. Imagine how hard that used to be to triangulate where you were going to find this reef or something prior to that.
It's amazing. I don't know how they did it before. You know what I mean? Like that old school way of doing it is pretty wild, and not being able to see what's going on. We lost all that last time we went out fishing, this older guy. And now he still had, like his depth finder and all, but he didn't have any of his, he couldn't see anything. You know what I mean? He knew I don't think we could even see the depth. We couldn't see hardly anything. We just knew kind of where we were from a GPS coordinates standpoint, and that's it. He couldn't see anything on the bottom. And dude, he was putting us on fish. You know what I mean? Wow. He dropped the old school. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, there he goes. Yeah, he just kept working across. We kept coming across. He was like, this is the way he used to do it. He used to work a grid out here. because you know it's somewhere, and sometimes you get on them and then you're off, and you turn back around and work back over them. I was like, yeah, makes sense, So
Yeah.
It's
But
just
now it's like you said, it's tinged in, like you were saying about the trolling
oh
motors. Now
God,
those guys, they push the button, and that boat just takes them out there to that spot, holds them there.
yeah, well,
The evolution,
he's
the
even
the
got
evolution.
that gyro system on his where he could hit another button. Not only could he set anchor with his two motors, he could also level off the boat. So waves come in and he just levels up.
Oh my!
I
I mean, is it
That's
even fishing
unreal.
at that point? I mean, that's insane.
I mean, it has come so dadgum far from whenever I was a kid, and it had come by that whenever I was a kid, when we were all kids, it had come so far from where it was at in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It was night and day, and now it's night and day.
Oh yeah, with the
Can't
rods, the flexible rods, and all the
Yep.
the different types of line and things that our grandparents are like, huh? We use a cane pole only.
I can't even imagine what it's going to be like 20 years from now. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's going to be
when
wild.
I can remember when I was a kid going with my dad offshore fishing, they didn't have the electric reels like they have now. And I see people fishing now with the electric reels, and I'm like, golly, that's
yeah.
I mean,
I saw
crank
that busted out for the first time on that same trip too. That
Really?
electric reel. I was like, that's unreal.
Yeah, you sent
dude.
me a little video of that. It's so
crazy.
That's crazy.
Well, hopefully we can all. Hopefully, we've got this big Tigs Bits fantasy football season going on. Maybe that'll be at the end of this season. We can celebrate by going on a fishing trip together because we haven't got to do that yet.
No,
Maybe
we
that'll be
haven't.
something
we
we
need to do
sponsor.
that. Yes,
Well, that
we
would
need
be
to do
fun.
that. Totally.
That would be fun.
Let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk a little Q. Let's talk a little Q. Our good friends and partners here at Right Now TV threw out a little question to us and to the Tigs Wigs for us to ask everybody, and they like to throw us some little debate questions here and there that we can maybe ponder on. This was a good one. This was right up our alley. I'll ask you first, JR. Gas grill or charcoal?
Wow. Yeah, I saw that. It's like they just bait us with these social posts, and then they know we're going to bite. We're like the fish we were just talking about.
100%.
They've got forward-looking sonar on Tigs Bits because they know what we'll bite on. Well, that's a tricky question because obviously there are applications that both work well. And we've talked about it on this show with some of our guests and amongst ourselves. A lot of us use pellet grills these days, which they didn't mention in the post. But so we'll add that. We'll help the whole the universe of Right Now television with adding pellet grill to that. We'll
yes,
make it
3,
you
have to
because that's my go-to. This week I used some Anytime from my Cook You Look and did chicken legs on my Traeger pellet grill with competition blend pellets. Fantastic. That any reason season, excuse me. It worked fantastic on those. About 350 for about 50 minutes. Took some zucchini, cut them long ways, scored them, olive oil, salt, a little any reason season on those zucchini on the grill as well. Yeah. I really like that. Pivoting over to the gas grill. Gas grill is good if you're budget conscious, you don't have much time, you don't do it much, you're tight on space, those type things. But they can get out of hand on you quick because they get hot quick. You're literally cooking with gas, as the old saying goes.
Yeah.
But I have my gas grill next to my pellet grill because sometimes I will, if I'm smoking something and want to get char marks on something, I'll heat up that gas grill for a minute and put the vegetables or something on there just to score them good, almost char them a little bit. Because my pellet grill I've got the smaller tailgater and I can't get it really hot like I want to. And if I needed to, I really never want to. So using that gas grill for that is really good. And if you're doing quick stuff like burgers and dogs for a birthday party or something, a gas grill is totally fine to use. Now, charcoal grill, Old Faithful, all our dads use, granddads, all that, charcoal grills, standard issue, Weber 22 or the Weber 33. I mean, just standard issue. Those, it's a little work once you've got gas, but flavor-wise, cooking certain things, you want to get a steak nice and hot on those coals over top. I can see it. But I will say I just got rid of my charcoal grill because I never use it. So I guess I'm picking, I would say pellet, then gas, then charcoal for me.
Wow.
Okay.
Long-winded way of saying that.
Yeah.
What would you say, Blasi?
Well, man, I still like charcoal or lump coal. So now I'm down to 2. So I had a gas grill, and I just kind of got where I don't even use it anymore. I did it for quick stuff. Now I'm either using, basically like a green egg. It's a Komodo deal, I think, or whatever, just like a green egg or ceramic grill. I use that, and I've gotten used to it, and I use the lump coal there. Right now, it's funny. I'm actually at a buddy of mine's house. I was traveling. He wasn't going to get home early. He's got a Weber, which is my favorite grill on earth. And I'm like, oh, I got it. So I got a whole cut up chicken out there rolling right now.
Yeah, you do.
And then I cut up some potatoes and all this, and I just threw them in the oven. And I took a whole stick of some of that Irish garlic butter. And then I added some chopped green onions to that action. Then I took out there what you can't do in a pellet grill and what you can't do in a gas grill. I took one of those coals after I'd lit the fire, and I took a little bit of that thing, dropped that in there, and capped it off in a, in a jar there, in a mason jar, and smoked that butter. And so now that smoked butter comes back. I'm gonna put that on my potatoes, poured that in my bag, shook it around with some seasoning, and that's what's going on the potatoes right now.
Just took that to a whole other level, didn't you?
Absolutely.
So I guess your no meat
Charcoal.
thing's over.
Chicken. I'm chicken today.
Yeah,
I am doing
chicken.
Chicken
Isn't truly meat.
I'm chicken.
It's just
Nope.
good for you.
But you're right. I'm doing chicken. I'm doing. You know what I found? I'm not. So I hadn't done pork and still hadn't done steak. But you know what? I think I'm over all this Beyond crap and all this. I got really digging into that stuff, dude. I think I may be worse for you than damn meat. You know what I mean? It's
Probably
like
is.
you son of a bitches. Like it kind of made me mad. You know what I mean? It's like
continue.
I saw these
explain.
studies. I saw these studies where these rats are getting cancer from this stuff, man. It's like I
haven't looked into it, but I'm sure you have. If you look at the ingredients and there's 6 or 8 words you can't pronounce, it's probably not very good.
Probably
and all
not
this
good for you.
GMO created stuff. It just kind of makes me mad because I was trying to do something I thought would be a good sub. So I'm off the subs for right now. Like I've tabled that action. So, but I'm still doing a lot of everything, fresh vegetables and all this. I got asparagus rolling and still doing that.
Love it.
Incorporate some chicken and some fish right now. So we're gonna roll
moderation is the key. It's funny you mentioned that you got rid of your gas for your egg.
Yeah.
I had an egg before my Traeger. I'm in the backstage of the Grand Ole Opry, and I got the only 2 gnats in the whole building chasing me around. They're right here in my face too, where I'm like, I know y'all don't see it. Sorry, I'm not crazy. Sharice my wife bought me an egg type. It was the Acorn. It was like the Home Depot or Lowe's version of the green egg when we still lived in Louisiana. And I burned up some sausage and burned up a few things, just couldn't get it figured out. Then I got the Traeger, loved it. But the gas grill I have now was the opposite. So I'm helping a friend. He's actually the guy who owns our tour bus. He's from Tupelo, Mississippi, but he has an RV spot at the RV resort down in Orange Beach where you park in. It's got a little carriage house and an outdoor living space on it. Well, it had a gas grill when he bought it, a nice gas grill, a charbroil, like 5-burner gas grill. He didn't want it because he only cooks on his green egg. So he's like, can you get this out of here for me? You got your truck? Because he drove a bus down. I was like, yeah, what are you going to do? He said, you can have it if you want it. I'm just going to get it out of here. I ordered a green egg. It'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, sweet. So that's the only reason I really have a gas grill. And I needed one anyway, but I've used it 3 or 4 times. So what's yours, Brantley? What is your go-to on the grill situation?
I'm pellet grill all the way once I finally got one, just because of the ease and convenience of that sucker. It's easy to clean. You can just press a button. You can do whatever you want. It's just easy.
Yeah.
But the food that comes out from it is just restaurant quality. I mean,
the
it's
flavor,
just
the
smoke, flavor
man.
And everything. It's not over smoky. You don't over smoke stuff. I love it. Number 2 for me would definitely be a charcoal. I love cooking on old Smokies, the $70 grill. We've talked about those things over the time. I'm about to buy another one because it's the fall, and I'll use it also as a fireplace, a firebox outside. You can put logs. You can't kill them, man. $70, it's cheaper than buying a fire pit. I'll just use it as a fire pit and then cook in it. I'll cook in it, and then I'll build a fire once it gets cool. So that'll be good. But I love them, and I love Webers. I love the Weber 22 or the big
classic.
Anything. I mean, that's the classic. Put the snake around it. Put your thing in the middle. I mean, that's what I learned how to cook on was a Weber. So I mean, I use pellets and charcoal. I don't have a gas grill. I'm not really against it. I just don't need one. If somebody gave me one, if anybody's listening to this and you want to get rid of a perfectly good gas grill, your boy will put it out in the department outside in the full-on kitchen.
Add it to the fleet.
I'll add it to the fleet. I have an electric smoker out there already, too, that I don't ever use, so I'd love to add.
Somebody probably will. That seems like one of those items, like a treadmill. Everybody buys one at some point, and then they end up giving it to somebody else. Whether they get it up. I remember the one I had when I lived here in Nashville, where I'm at today. For purpose, if y'all see me, I'm in the Stars and Stripes room of the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee.
Unbelievable.
Coming to you guys.
Just doing a show from backstage at the Grand Ole Opry.
I had to get in. I told them, I said, I need a space. I've got Tigs bits. They were like, let's hurry. They had like Secret Service, Opry Secret Service escort me down here, make sure I had Wi-Fi and everything. And I have good Wi-Fi.
You do?
Opry got some good Wi-Fi.
Fantastic.
But when I lived in Nashville, I needed a gas grill and wouldn't bite the bullet to buy one. And this is back when I worked for John Party. He calls me and say, hey, you want a gas grill? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, somebody's giving me one that's nicer and newer than the one I have. So I don't want to just put it by the road. I was going to see if you want it. So somebody gave him one. So I got his hand-me-down, and that's how I got the one I got now. I mean, so I'm sure somebody – and then I know down the street from me a couple of years ago, I saw a neighbor from one end walking past my house dragging a grill, 2 of them. That's how I got the Weber. A lady was getting rid of both her grills because her husband had passed, and she wasn't planning on doing no grilling. She said, y'all just have them.
Unbelievable. That's the best ones. Yeah. That is the best ones.
Yeah, we mentioned those 3 types of cooking outdoors, like on the grill for grilling. Several years ago, this would have been mid-20-teens, there was a show out. It was a primitive guy who was doing primitive cooking, and he was using a lot of open fire cooking, just wood, open cooking on like a burn pile, basically. That made me think of that when you mentioned the burn pit. So at the times, before Sharice and I got married, and I got rid of my own place, and I was renting a room from our then guitar player, Josh Cross, and in Hendersonville, and he was really into this show too. And we were watching it. It made so much sense. So about next thing you know, we're out there on the fire ring, like with logs, like we would get out of the yard, cut up logs and stuff on the. Then we had a grate you could put over top of it. So we were cooking stuff on cast iron or in Dutch ovens directly on the wood after we had some coals going, or over on that grate that slid over top of the grill, taking the potatoes and wrapping them in tinfoil, or making packets full of tinfoil and putting them right in the coals, charring the meat right over that way. That was
hobo packets, right?
Yeah, and that was a real primitive way of grilling. And I know back home people used to do that all the time. In Louisiana, they do it the boucheries and stuff. You're cooking outdoor types things. You're just cooking over a big open something. So I don't want to slip on that one either, because if you don't have a gas grill and you don't have a pellet grill and you don't have a charcoal grill, just get you a damn old ring out there in your yard, get you some wood going, burn it up. You can cook, baby. You can barbecue. Anybody can barbecue. Unless you live in an apartment in a big city, then you probably don't need to do any of that.
That's true.
And you're probably
don't do
not
this in New York
show.
City. Probably not. Probably not.
You said you got a list.
I do. I've got a top 10 list. I was just having a little fun with AI this morning. I wanted to see what they would say. So I've got 2 top 10 lists. I asked both ChatGPT and Grok. What is it? What the hell is the name of
Grok?
Grok.
Not Gronk.
Just Grok. Just the terrible, worst name ever for an AI
crazy,
assistant, but whatever. Okay, that's Elon's brain. We love Elon. But this is the top 10 list of barbecues, so I think this is going to be fun. I'm going to say this one, then I'm going to give you Grok's, and then we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll come right back and discuss. So here's their top 10. Brisket coming in at number 1. This is ChatGPT. Brisket at number 1, ribs at number 2, pulled pork at number 3, smoked sausages at number 4, barbecue chicken at number 5,
chicken,
can't go wrong. Burnt
Never.
ends at number 6, barbecue beans at number 7, cornbread at number 8,
slap your mama,
mac and cheese at number 9, and chopped beef sandwich at number 10. Hold your thoughts. Then this is Grok's. This is their version. Number 1, a burger, because it's more American than a patty of mystery meat between two buns, is what it says. Ribs, hot dogs, brisket, chicken, sausages, corn on the cob, pork shoulder or pulled pork, shrimp skewers, and vegetable kebabs. So that's Grok's top 10. That's ChatGPT's top 10.
They must have asked everybody in New York City to chime in on that one. I don't think they know what they're talking about.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So we're going to jump into this here in just a second.
Let's
so
get on this.
Y'all stay
with
tuned,
us.
and we'll see you back here in just a moment.
All
All right,
Tigs. When we do the in and out of the breaks, can we do like 5 seconds so I can hit my vape so I don't have to hit it on air?
Yeah, for sure.
I've been trying to time it.
I get a shot of wine.
Yeah, hit it now. This is a good place. We'll do this. So this is what?
Oh, this is great. This is gold.
5. I think this is fun. And I think if we get to where we start doing something more along these lines, that it's going to make all of our lives easier. We don't have to think of content. We're not having
especially for this. Yeah, especially for this thing.
We're not having to for the TV show and the Bubba stuff. Blasi, we were talking a little bit before you joined us. We're going to go into a more structured format.
Sure,
it'll make it easy for all of us, and
especially for you.
Who am I on Bubba's show?
It's okay. I've got a whole bottle of orange water here.
Look at me.
I know. I pick.
But all right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, welcome back. So we left talking about the top 10 foods from Grok, whatever, and ChatGPT, and I know y'all have some thoughts on this. JR, you're over there cringing. You've got a thought.
I mean, lists are lists. It's like watching Family Feud. There'll be 2 people that said something. You're like, nobody would ever say that. So I think that's where these people. I don't think anyone you ask what's your favorite barbecue item, and they're going to say a damn vegetable skewer.
Was that a Canadian list? Was that a Canadian list? I mean, that's nothing against our friends up north, but
no, that's a Toronto, New York list. It's got to be because I know. Well, I mean, they got good barbecue there. Speaking of, we'll talk about that in a little bit. My new friends, the McLemore boys, who I met in New York City last week, they don't mess around. They had pulled pork sandwiches, which I would say pulled pork or shoulder or butt I would say would be number 1. Pulled pork, just a barbecue pork sandwich.
Yeah, and it's here at number standard. 8.
Yeah,
how is that at number 8?
I don't get that. I would say number 2 they had right. I would say ribs is a staple. You can leave ribs at 2 or somewhere up high like that would be
ribs,
totally fine.
Ribs for sure in the top 10.
I think they threw shade on sausage. How important is sausage, y'all? I mean, everybody who barbecues
everything starts with sausage.
Right? I mean, I cook the sausage first, so you got something to snack on while you're waiting on everything else.
Exactly.
And then I eat it at the end, and I eat it in the middle. Everybody
eat it for breakfast. Yeah,
and barbecue chicken. Everybody, whatever you're doing, barbecue chicken has got to be the top 3. I mean, we're talking about top 5 for sure. Barbecue chicken.
Like
I'd say
sauce.
Yes, and I get the beans. But I say that's a side. Even if you put a bunch of barbecue in the beans, that's still not a barbecue item. The briskets
I would never
in the
consider
middle.
that a barbecue item at all. No, and I love barbecue baked beans, and I make, in my opinion, in my mind, some of the best that there are. I'm proud of them, but I would not put it as a barbecue item. I would.
It's not a barbecue item.
No, it's not. It's a side dish.
Corn on the cob. Mac and cheese. Even if you add it, you have to barbecue the stuff to put it in there. Even like here in Nashville, Tennessee, Neely's has several locations. The famous Neely family from Memphis that has restaurants here. They have a great barbecue baked potato. Still not a barbecue item. And they do a barbecue spaghetti, which is fantastic, but that's not a barbecue item.
That's a barbecue dish, and that's a dish. Right. That's different. That is not.
That's made with barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not a fan of that barbecue spaghetti. I've had it. And it's
not your jam.
Nope, just not my jam. I mean, it doesn't taste bad. It's not terrible. It's not gross. It's just not what I.
It's not your
when
deal.
I take the bite, it's like, this isn't right. These don't go together.
You probably have on your 23andMe. You probably got a little Italian in you somewhere. So you're like, this is not correct. This is not
this
right.
isn't right.
It's my great grandmother in Sicily would not approve.
That's right.
That's
Man,
so
I'll
funny.
tell you, the barbecue beans this past weekend, we smoked a brisket. I smoked 2 big briskets. In fact, I'll probably be having brisket for dinner whenever we wrap this up. And we had cowboy beans. My buddy made cowboy beans. I've never had them. You know, it had bacon, green, just like the Trinity, cooked all that down and blah, 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 and a little sugar and all, but it's not sweet. It's not like a sweet barbecue beans and a lot of garlic, just a lot of flavor. You can look it up on YouTube. Just look up cowboy beans, YouTube recipes. I highly, highly suggest you try it if you like beans. Some people don't like beans. You know,
I'm a big bean guy. Love some beans.
Same.
I think you'd like them, man.
And talking about the brisket now, brisket has risen in popularity out of the West over the last couple of decades to where I would say brisket's got a good run at the 5 spot in there. Brisket's beloved by lots.
Oh yeah.
You asked me in Texas, it's number 1, but you go across the United States, it's definitely a top 5 item. Yeah,
absolutely, 100% a top 5. Yeah, Texas, it's number 1 for Tiggy. It's number 1. Brisket's my jam.
And I would even say in there, you know, I mean, if you get out, especially if you get out in Texas, a lot of places, but in today's world, like tri-tip or smoked or barbecued turkey breast. I love that smoked turkey when we go places, man. That's my go-to. If I'm doing like Blasi, if I'm trying to really, I don't want the heaviest thing here. I don't want to do 3 pounds of pulled pork today. I just need, 8 ounces of sliced smoked turkey. So good with the baked beans. And for me, when I like my baked beans, I got to have my potato salad with it. I just love baked beans and potato salad together.
Me too.
I like alternating bites. I like taking them and mixing them together. I like
such a good compliment to it. It really is, man. It's so nice.
That's
like ice cream on top of apple pie or something,
Yes, it just goes together.
Yep, it does.
It just goes together.
So what were some of the other ones on there? Did they have cornbread on there?
Hot dog and cornbread. Yeah,
and a
I mean, a hot dog's got to be in the top 10.
Hot dog's a thing, yeah.
Hot dogs.
That's a
if
thing.
If you're talking about what people would barbecue, I'm sure a lot of people cook those because a lot of kids eat them. And I mean, I like a hot dog too. There's nothing wrong with a hot dog.
Yeah,
I bet they don't eat. They don't eat them like Joey Chestnut and them ate them the other day.
What was that?
Dude, that was crazy. 83 hot dogs. That's nuts.
Insane. And if you're like us, though, half the time hot dogs we ever ate were boiled. They weren't cooking them on the grill. Somebody just boiled some hot dogs.
I just put them in the microwave for 20 seconds.
Yeah. In a wet paper napkin.
They bubble up.
I'd always get a weenie, put a slice of cheese, get 2 weenies, let's be honest, get 1 slice of cheese, put that in the microwave, and there you go.
There you go.
20 seconds. You got you a meal.
So I would say those. What were some of the other ones what were the other ones on there?
We had the shrimp skewers, which I don't think in any way. We're in the South. We're in the Gulf South. And we all shook our head. Like, I mean,
New
do
Orleans
you have shrimp
barbecued
skewers every daggum week? No.
And
we have an abundance of shrimp.
And New Orleans barbecued shrimp is not even barbecued in the traditional sense. It's it's in a saucepan with butter and whoosh or whatever seasonings and shell. It's not even done on the grill typically.
No,
so I don't.
I don't. Shrimp skewers.
I've never pulled out a pound of shrimp. Said y'all ready for some barbecue?
You're right. That's like having y'all over for a steak boil. We're gonna boil some steak.
It really is.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. All right, boys, we hitting the home stretch now. This has been fun. This show's going quick. It always happens when you talk about bass fishing and food.
We're always. And this is the point in the show where we're all hungry and like, how much longer we got? Because now we're all hungry. We talked about barbecue.
Oh, I know. It gets us all going. I got all this stuff going. I got these veggies going out here. I got this chicken going. I got my white sauce ready to start finishing this chicken here in a minute and lock that thing up as we talked about. But I will tell you something.
Baptize it.
So I got here early and the house was locked. He said, "Hey, here's the code going in." I told him, "Hey, I got everything. I'm just going to start going." I cut up the chicken. I got everything rolling. And then I was looking for a knife. I couldn't find a knife. I was like, "Man, where's a knife?" He's like, just keep looking. You'll find them, And finally, I found some stuff. Dude, have you ever heard of a Cutco knife? Like,
I have. I've heard of them. I've heard they are some of the sharpest, nicest knives.
The balance in this knife in your hand, I use light. It, and oh my god, no! It feels solid. It's not heavy. It's just solid. It's just weighted proper. Look at that. I mean, it just sits in my hand.
So that's
I mean,
a high end piece of cutlery there.
That's about a $200 knife right here.
That's what I was going to say. I think that they're $200 or $300,
and at least I think that's a 9 1/4, what they call a French knife, the French one. And so, dude, it's like this marble looking handle on it. It is just so solid. And that blade, see the thickness of that blade coming all the way through there.
Oh, and it's got the undulations and stuff. For your hand.
Dude. And I'll tell you what, when it just comes through and you're cutting, it's special. Like, it was really special. And then I kept digging around, like a good boy I am. Dude, he's got the full steak knives. These things right here are $70 a piece. The same stuff.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is.
You need a personal assistant?
Yeah.
I know. I'm sitting there looking, and I wasn't even done. I kept plundering. And then, and I don't even say, now, this is what I don't know. So this is a smaller knife, but it's still got the edges to it. You know what I mean? Like you could use it like a steak knife. I don't know what that's even called. And those are like $50 a piece. I mean, there's, he got $800 worth of knives just sitting right here.
Beautiful. Have they even been used?
Dude, no, they're in a box. That's what I asked him. I said, is this thing just for flex or do you use it? He said, well, I guess it's for flex because it was still in this thing paper wrap. I said, well, I'm using it if that's okay.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are.
I put it back. I did clean it, put it back in the paper for him, but I don't know why you don't have that out. That is a fine utensil right there.
I tell you what,
that's
knives
the stuff they use on the bear.
Yeah,
it is the stuff I guarantee you it is. Those things are expensive. I love knives. I had to get I do a lot of briskets and stuff. I trim a lot of meats. Number one thing that you got to have a good sharp boning knife.
Yeah.
It has that little curve so you can cut through if you're going to separate wings or if you're going to spatchcock chickens or turkeys, stuff like that. You got to have a boning knife. I also use it to trim a brisket because it's so sharp. You got to be careful with that sucker because if you just breathe by your finger, it got it. It's going to get it.
Yeah.
And I have a knife similar to that one too. It's not as nice. And the way you can tell it's not as nice, I have to sharpen them about every 6 or 7 uses. That one you don't have to do that with. But I bought a sharpener, just a little electric sharpener. Hey, it works.
Well,
it sharpens them.
And I've got a decent knife, right? I just realized that's what I have is a decent knife.
That's right. Compared to that sucker,
this is like a Japanese blade or something. You know what I mean? It's
that's
like
exactly what it is.
Unbelievable. Just a shot. I mean, I can see myself perfectly on this thing.
Just
I can shave or whatever.
I can see the future on that thing.
You really can. Your future is bright, JR.
It is.
Oh, yeah. I can see myself.
You can.
Oh, hey.
I do.
That's amazing.
Insane. Oh,
what a
gosh.
knife.
That is
what
crazy.
a knife. That's
We're like
not
kids.
a knife.
We're like kids. You want to? That's if you want to do, you get 40 somethings to act like kids. Get them a nice set of cooking knives out. That is insane. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I know we had a great show today. I'm glad everybody tuned in, had a blast. I want to say before we have to end that happy football season, everyone. I hope everybody's teams do well. I hope everybody's players stay healthy, injury free throughout the entire season, and may the best team win. I just want to get that out there. I know a lot of people doing fantasy football. If you don't do fantasy football, you follow any football teams out there. If you don't, you've probably got a family member, loved one who does, so help root them on because for whatever reason, it makes people happy or sad when their ball team does well. So I hope everybody's does well except for any arch rivals of any of my teams. And we'll have more updates as the season goes on because I know Blasi's going to make some Troy games. I'm going to be out here scouting from the road. Tiggs will be doing his tailgate master plan at LSU ball games. Sharice and I are trying to look at the Saints schedule now to try to lock us in a Saints game at home some point this season. So happy football season, everyone. Just want to get that out there. And thank y'all for tuning in to Tiggs Bits. We sure appreciate you.
For sure. Well, boys, let's put a little bow on this thing and we'll be back next week. If you missed it, you can go back and listen. We go live every Thursday, and you can go to our YouTube page, go to tigsbits.com with all the links there, and you can check it out in case you missed it. We cut up on that live show. I'm watching myself in a shiny knife as I say all of this. It is unbelievable and a little bit scary all at the same time, just like we are. We'll see y'all next week.